Hello everyone and welcome back to the DreamHack Open 2015 live from Tour France. This is the grand final of the StarCraft. Let's get hyped, guys. Come on. This amazing crowd that have been with us all day. We started this tournament with 96 players. We've whittled it down to just 2. PartinG versus GuMiho. Guys, you've got to be pumped about this.
I'm very excited for this. These 2 players are worthy of the final. PartinG has been the tournament favorite from the very get-go. When we had those 96 players, we looked at the player list. Everyone pointed out that PartinG was a tournament favorite, and he's here in the grand final. GuMiho, a little bit less of that, but he deserves this. He's gone through undefeated, hasn't dropped a single map so far in this tournament, and is ready to challenge the tournament favorite.
Yeah, well, let's take a brief recap. We're going to bring up the bracket so we can see how we got here to this awesome final. There was loads of stories, chills, spills. We heard from Stefano. He didn't even make the bracket, but we heard from him earlier. Great story that he came back briefly. Harston there, the foreign hope, cruelly defeated against Hyun. But Sean, what moments really stand out for you on the road to the final?
For me, just the pathways for both players. It's been absolutely domination. For every single game that you look at PartinG or every single game that you look at GuMiho, it's been complete domination. PartinG versus Rain, 3-0. PartinG versus Hyun, 3-1. GuMiho versus True, 3-0. GuMiho versus Marine King, 3-0. Just the way that they've gone to the finals in pure class.
Can we all agree, or do we all agree that GuMiho's road to the finals has been harder?
Yes, definitely.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, the first argument is PartinG is so good. It was easy. I mean, he's cantered to the final.
PartinG met some non-Korean players, whereas GuMiho has been Koreans all the way here in that bracket. So, Wax?
No, man. Like GuMiho, when he came to this tournament, maybe he was like he got lost, missed to see his names. But as the tournament has gone on, he's just picked up steam, and he's running on a hot streak right now. And GuMiho was always that kind of player, He's always kind of inconsistent. On his best day, he's really good and can beat anyone in the world. When he's not playing well, he just kind of falls apart. But I just want to call back to probably what was his most glorious moment in StarCraft 2, the GSTL finals back in 2012, when he all-killed the Slayers team in the grand finals, 5-0. And this is like Slayers at their peak. This is MMA. This is an insanely stacked team. And GuMiho on that day, he crushed them. He was on that day, he was the best player in the world.
So are you saying that he's a big day, a big occasion player then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with Wax. There's been a lot of small events that have led up to this point in his career, and he's mentioned it on the stage back there too, there's not many opportunities you get as a StarCraft 2 player, especially in Korea, to have this opportunity right now that he has to be a champion in StarCraft 2. Over the years, I think we can look at GuMiho and say that he's had his ups and downs. He's been very consistent, especially within the GSL. He was definitely a major team league player over the years for his teams that he's represented. But in the last year or two, he's been quiet. But in the last couple of months, he's come back to where we see him now, on stage, on stream, in a tournament. He's entered this individual tournament, and he's gone all the way to the final, as mentioned, without dropping a map.
Yeah, Todd, I mean, there's some solid numbers there.
Yeah.
I think when you get to a final, obviously, we do know anything can happen. What's GuMiho's strategy going to be? What's he going to be thinking about here?
I think with the way he's been playing, he should be confident enough, not to particularly have to try anything too special. Just, keep on playing really well. That sounds like a pretty good plan. This guy is a beast, man. Back when I was living in Korea and practicing there, I was playing a lot against him. And already back then, man, I was getting my ass handed to me every single day on the ladder. And I always knew he kind of had it in him. It feels like he got so little recognition so far in his StarCraft career compared to his skill, which is just massive.
But of course, he's going to be coming up against someone else who's a bit of a beast, of course, in the form of PartinG. And, we have picked him out as a tournament favorite throughout. But, are there any weaknesses? Are there any chinks in the armor?
There definitely is. I mean, Wax, you know these player styles very well. But one thing that stands out with PartinG is that he is so aggressive. It's the number one thing is his aggression, and that can be a weakness too.
Yeah, I mean, he does try to play, when PartinG was back in 2012, he once established himself as the best PvT player in the world just by playing a super defensive, solid macro style. These days, he's sort of doing it again by playing a more aggressive style with a lot of blink, abusing his micro. And at times, playing against a player like GuMiho who likes to do all the, the starport drop stuff, you can get into some sticky situations where you have to think fast. There's weird base trades, and if he doesn't really play those correctly, he could lose in some awkward games.
What are your thoughts on that then, Todd? I mean, but the aggressive style, can you come unstuck sometimes? Can you be too aggressive?
I think, yeah, definitely. It's not really about being too aggressive. It's more about, because even if you're being aggressive, a lot of time you can pull back, but sometimes there's going to be situations where rather than using the word over-aggressive, I can say that somebody overextends, with an attack. And if you let that happen here, either for GuMiho or PartinG, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because then you're exposed to a counter-attack. When your opponent's going to be ahead, they're going to be able to build up their economy even better and get even more ahead. So both players, like in terms of, going for attacks, it's going to have to be well calculated and I guess, take it slow maybe a little bit at times too. We've seen PartinG actually already against Zerg, really overextending that game on Vanny earlier. I was really surprised against Hyun, the way he moved out. He just got demolished too in that game.
Thought it was interesting as well, Sean, looking at the head-to-head, and obviously I know sometimes statistics don't mean anything in isolation. You've got to contextualize them. But there wasn't a lot between them in the head-to-head. We're talking 56% for one player, and 44, I think it was for the other. So, I mean, they've obviously met each other a few times, and they're capable of beating each other on the day.
Yeah, they've met each other a couple of times, and the 2 times that GuMiho won were in team leagues a long time ago, because both these players have been playing StarCraft 2 since day one, pretty much, since the very beginning. They've met in the smaller leagues way back when, and they played more recently in tournaments where PartinG's come out on top, because it is PartinG that is the #1 ranked player on Aligulac. He's also top 4 within the WCS ranking system, and GuMiho just isn't that type of player, and as you've mentioned, that he was overlooked when you looked at the player list. There was other bigger names than him, especially when you looked at the Terran list of players. You had Fantasy, that everyone was like, okay, Fantasy can do really well. MMA can do really well. And everyone kind of forgot about GuMiho, and that's another problem with GuMiho. As consistent as he's been over the years, it's round of 32, round of 16. He's only reached a semi-final once in his entire career, way back when, in 2012. But now we're fast-forwarding again. This is a potential massive opportunity for him to get his first major title.
Yeah, well, we'll find out a little bit more about that now. Obviously, both our finalists exude class, so does the person who's been doing the interviews with them. We're going to throw over to Smix now on the stage.
Thank you very much, Richard Lewis. Bonjour, comment ça va? It is time, guys. Welcome to the 2015 DreamHack Open Tour Grand Finals!
Map realizing he's in trouble. Some great bundles going down. The Ultra's closing oh so quickly. Roach and Hydra all over the place.
Big play coming out from 4GG. He runs straight past that tree, goes straight for the Roaches here. What a move, what a build, what a strategy.
For the very first time, you have a chance to become a StarCraft 2 champion. Why should the fans here watching indoor, as well as those watching online, cheer for you over PartinG?
이사기는 많이 해봤잖아요. 우승도 결승도 많이 하고 저는 5년 만에 온 기회고 거기다 처음으로 잡은 기회이기 때문에 절대 양보할 수 없습니다. 반드시 이기겠습니다.
So GuMiho says, you know, PartinG's done this so many times before. He's won so many tournaments. He's been in the finals so many times. This is my first time in the grand finals in 5 years of becoming a pro gamer. I am definitely not going to let this chance go. I will make sure to become the StarCraft 2 champion. PartinG, we heard some pretty strong words from GuMiho over here, but I know that you're not going to let that go so easily. The crowd is chanting GuMiho's name. I'm sure you don't like that very much. What do you have to say?
뭐라고요?
팬들한테 왜 응원해야 되는지, 이번 이삭 선수를 왜 응원해야 되는지.
Because I'm funny person and I'm legend Protoss in StarCraft 2. So you, my fans, always cheer for me. Need to cheer for me.
All right. Well, I'm excited to get this grand finals underway. Gentlemen, shake hands. Only one of these guys will be the StarCraft 2 champion and take home $10,000 in prize money. We'll find out who it'll be in time. But for now, Richard Lewis, take it away.
Thanks a lot there, Smix. And what a great atmosphere. Pockets of fans for both players. Really great to see. And again, you know, knocked out by this French crowd. But let's talk about the players and what they're going to be able to deliver. I mean, again, I got to say, we talked a lot about potential weaknesses, what GuMiho can do. But what can he do? I mean, PartinG's unstoppable, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing. You look at this and you do say, yes, PartinG's unstoppable. But GuMiho is also very, in a similar way, the same unstoppable player. He's gone undefeated in this tournament. He hasn't lost a single map so far. He's playing better than we've seen GuMiho play in a very, very long time. 2014, does anyone really remember what GuMiho did in 2014? He had a couple of Pro League matches, but he didn't qualify for that much. He didn't really do anything in 2014. But in the last couple of months, he's making a name for himself again. He's qualifying for GSL. He's qualifying for the Star League. He's traveled over to this tournament. He's in the grand final. And again, you have to repeat it. He hasn't lost a single map, and he's had the harder road to the finals compared to PartinG.
Yeah, this is what we bring you in, Wax. I mean, what's so good about PartinG? What are his strengths? What's so impressive about him?
I think just like at this point in time, he's refined his execution, his small scale micro to such a exact level that it's so hard to fight him in the early stages of the game. I think maybe his late game is, you know, not as good as the early game, but he never needs to go there. He just like kills people in the early mid game so easily. I think one of the things GuMiho might be able to use to his advantage is that, you know, he's been playing this kind of you know, factory starport style that's a trending lately. You know, he's been doing that forever. He's very, very good at that. He knows all of the, you know, the branches off of it. He also does a lot of follow-ups that no one else does. You know, he does a lot of like tank follow-ups, some like 1-1-1-ish follow-ups. And you know, PartinG isn't like entirely unfamiliar with those follow-ups. He's played, you know, GuMiho before. He's seen and used them. But you know, this is not, GuMiho's not a typical opponent. He's definitely a player who has his own style. And if PartinG has to be wary.
Mm. And Todd, your thoughts as well about, well, I mean, either player will do, but what do you think about PartinG?
In this matchup, man, he's always been really, really good. A long time ago, you know, it was all about dropping down quick, a quick nexus, even sometimes with a very quick third nexus. And just going into macro, he had one of the very best High Templar control at a time when it was still a valuable strategy to open with High Templars. Now it's not really anymore. So now it's a lot more about Blink Stalkers and Colossus. Whether you open with a Stargate or not, which he actually likes to do sometime, doesn't really matter. It's always going to be, you know, these Blink Stalkers to Colossus. He can go all in. He's a little bit of a wild card. I feel like it's almost harder for GuMiho to kind of judge what PartinG might do. Like he's going to be the one, to, you know, having to put in some good scouts to try and figure out what he's up against. Whereas, you know, PartinG, I guess he's, in most of the games, he's going to be thinking, well, is it a factory or not? That's the only question he's going to be wondering about.
Well, it's time to put our money where our mouths are, guys. Time for the predictions quickly. So I'll start with you, Todd, while you were talking. What's the score going to be into who?
PartinG 3-2.
Yeah, I agree, sadly. I like to disagree with you, but this time I have to. PartinG 3-2 as well.
Wax?
I feel like for most of the tournament, I've gone with my head, but this time I have to go with my heart. You know, GuMiho, he's not just a player who's, you know, good at the game. He's a player who plays his own style, he plays his own way, and you know, and that's just grown on me. I really want to win this one.
Okay.
This is the grand finals, by the way. If you get this wrong, nobody's going to remember the previous matches.
It's all right.
He'll live with it. Well, look, it's been great to get your thoughts, but without any further ado, I think we need to get into this grand final here. Guys, give up some noise for the players, PartinG versus GuMiho, and give up some noise for our casters. It is Todd versus Apollo. Let's do this. It's the grand final.
Thank you very much, Richard Lewis. An excellent job this weekend. Now it's time to kick off the grand finals. We're going to have a lot of fun in this best of 5 between these two players. GuMiho versus PartinG. Winner and loser here, Todd. Are we going to have a completely new champion in GuMiho in StarCraft 2, or is PartinG going to steamroll another tournament?
I think that PartinG's going to take the win, but you know what? GuMiho's been very impressive. He's really going to have to bring it here up against the PartinG, who's shown very good things in a matchup in the past. I think we all remember, you know, that the Home Story Cup Grand Finals up against Flash, where he was on the ropes as well, and with some nice all-in in the end. He was barely able to, you know, get the win. So that's one of the things that we're going to have to look out for here. How much does PartinG want to cheese? Because he's very much capable of doing something like a lot of cheese, but most of the time relying on his macro is what's going to give him success.
It's time. Up here to the top, right inside in the grand finals here. $10,000 for first place, $5,000 for second is the red Protoss player from Yowie Flash Wolves. It's PartinG! And his opponent, so far undefeated. Not a single map has been lost so far in this tournament. As the blue Terran player from MVP, it's GuMiho!
On this map, maybe PartinG a little bit more inclined to go for something like a Stargate. You know, 4 players map, it can be pretty hard to scout. This is not a very good Reaper map here as well, so we'll see what he has in the plans. But again, you know, one of the key units for PartinG is really the Blink Stalker. He's very, very good at using those, no matter what the matchup. PvP, PvT, PvZ, any matchup is always going down to, you know, maybe the most important unit here for top Protoss players, and his Blink Micro has no equal. He said it himself.
Yeah.
He thinks he's top 1 control Protoss in the world.
And
I'm actually surprised he said Protoss.
Yeah, I mean, he's really displayed his control throughout this tournament so far. The use of Stalkers combined with Force Fields, he's been fantastically aggressive and very, very clinical and accurate with all of his attacks. But on the other side of things, GuMiho has been playing some very, very solid StarCraft 2. He's been playing very defensive, yet at the same time, that's the early part of the game, and then he'll turn on the aggression the longer the game goes. But one thing that I noticed is his macro has been so solid throughout this weekend.
Yes.
He takes damage, but he always recovers. He always recovers, gets the mech train back rolling again, and is able to continue going toe-to-toe with world-class players.
I mean, it's going to take a massive effort and some flawless play here out of PartinG to beat a GuMiho, but he's certainly capable of it. I spoke a little bit with both players. I was asking PartinG, you know, how he feels about PvT. He was telling me his confidence, and you know that most of the time he's going to be using, you know, Blink Stalkers, Colossus, sometimes with a Stargate in there. Which kind of surprised me, you know. I didn't think that PartinG was really the guy, you know, to use too many Stargates, but he was telling me that he's been practicing it quite a bit and he's good with it, so maybe we will see some of that in there. Whereas GuMiho, he was telling me that he thinks that the current map pool is pretty good for Terran, but at the same time, he said that PartinG is a very tricky guy to play against, and it's going to make it very difficult for him to manage the situation well.
Well, the Reaper here for GuMiho, who's opened up Reaper expansion. He's going to go inside the main base of PartinG to have a quick look here. The Mothership Core is out, and GuMiho is going to get chased without checking the second gas. But on the other side of the map, PartinG, who scouted his opponent last, luckily gets inside the main base because of this, goes in, sees the factory that has been planted down already, and already knows the follow-up from this Reaper opening.
That's a really big deal. Wax touched a little bit on that, by the way. The fact that GuMiho, ever since a long time ago, where it wasn't really the standard, he loved to open with a quick factory, sometimes a starport, benches, all that. And nowadays, it's become a little bit more of a trend that a lot of people do it, which I think might play into PartinG's favor, because before when people did that, you weren't really used of facing it. But nowadays, since everybody kind of does it, you really used up those timings where the Widow Mines are finally going to be dropped, those Medivacs will hit, and PartinG, I expect some of the very best defense in the world here from him up against something like that.
First blood to GuMiho, takes down the probe on the other side of the map with the Reaper. But there is a second gas down.
He had to go very far, but
he had to go very far to do that, and because he went so far to do that, PartinG dragged the probe all the way to the bottom left. The Reaper hasn't been inside the main base. He doesn't know about the Twilight Council, he doesn't know about Blink, but he has chosen his strategy anyway. It's a second gas down, we got Widow Mines being built, the starport's now finishing up, and there's a lot of gas behind this for GuMiho. We have a tech lab being placed down onto this factory.
Like knowing about the factory here, it would make a lot of sense to drop down one gate, then get a robo, because he's going to need detection against this.
I mean, he's got 2 tech labs down on a factory and starport. That's going to be very interesting to see how that follows. The Reaper gets taken out. No scouting information available here for GuMiho. Does not know what exactly he's playing against.
Oh my God. If GuMiho goes Banshee, man, I can't believe after all these years.
All these years, man. That's what it looks like. But no, it's going to be a Raven. Raven with the Marines here. And then tank production, by the looks of it, is going to be the follow-up, but this is delaying stim. This is not the standard here. He's dedicating a lot of resources very early on to an army that is going to be strong, but obviously the longer the game goes, the weaker it's going to become. So let's follow exactly how GuMiho is going to play, because PartinG on the other side of the map has Blink done, 3 additional gateways now, so he's gone to a total of 4 with a robotics facility as well.
I'm wondering whether he's getting the tank because he knows his Blink Stalkers, or if he was planning to go mech.
He hasn't scouted anything yet. I mean, he's completely doing this just because that's what he wanted to do.
But it's PartinG, man. He knows his Blink Stalkers.
That's right.
It's going to be almost every single time.
Widow Mine has been placed down. The first tank is about to pop out. Blink is almost done. We have no gases from PartinG and on this natural until this just second. He's at a very healthy gateway count. He's expecting a Medivac to come to the main base to drop Widow Mines in his mineral lines, but it just simply hasn't happened at this moment. We've got the Raven now, the tank is out. Extra barracks have been put down for GuMiho as well.
I think PartinG's going to start to apply some pressure here. And one very important thing, when you see a Terran open with factory like this and you don't see him being very aggressive, you start thinking about how fast was the 3rd command center. Why would a Terran open like this and not attack? Or why would a Terran not attack, period? A lot of the time it's going to be because he's getting a very quick 3rd command center and he's playing defensively. Gonna bait the shots.
He gets actually hit by the tank, not the Widow Mine there. Takes a little bit of shield damage, but solid defense there from GuMiho as PartinG kind of feeling out his opponent, but he's going to blink to the natural hit. He's going to get 1, 2 SCVs. He's trying to get a 3rd. Nice harassment here from PartinG. He can't go too far because of the tanks and Marines, but he's going to take down a refinery as well.
There's more Stalkers being warped in, by the way, at that pylon that he has nearby. Getting another pylon near there as well. I wonder how much PartinG wants to commit to this. I mean, 4 gateways is more than the standard. The standard is 3, so 4 gateways. He keeps on warping into Stalkers 4 by 4.
There is a Raven, there's going to be a point defense drone, there's a tank on the high ground, there's a tank next to the command center, there's a 3rd tank now just popped out the factory. He's going to get rid of the Widow Mine. It actually detonates and gets rid of one of those Stalkers, and PartinG taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah. I'm really starting to wonder how much he had to commit here, and maybe not that much. And in the end, he took a lot of damage on those Stalkers. If GuMiho goes for a counter drop here, this can do some damage.
Blink forward there from PartinG, trying to get that Medivac.
Templar Archive in a Forge. He's actually going to play High Templar against this.
Oh, PartinG sees that Medivac. He's going to blink. He's just going to let this go. Where's Boost? There it is, and the Medivac's going to escape away.
He's warping in the main.
Warping Stalkers, but are they going to stop this Medivac? Yes, they are. Whoa, great breaker. That's a great catch.
Beautiful play from PartinG. You expect nothing else, but he finds himself on a very high Stalker count. He's going to go straight into Storm, getting a cannon that is natural as well. He's very afraid of that attack that might hit him soon, fully knowing that there is a Raven as well with PDD. And by the look of things, GuMiho, he wants to go for a massive 2-base with or without SCVs. This is going to hit very hard, Apollo.
Here we go. We have another blink in from PartinG. Point defense drone's been activated, and now he's actually taking a few losses on these Stalkers, maybe more than he wanted to take. 3 or 4 went down there, and he didn't really kill off very much. He damaged the refinery. He's lost 6 Stalkers overall. He has worn down that Marine count by killing 19, but remember, 8 were in that Medivac on the other side.
Still no 3rd command center here, Apollo. And PartinG, he's going to be able to do very well with the Storm against the Bio, but there is a very scary and high tank count. That's very worrying here for PartinG. If you look at the army supply, it's 47 for GuMiho, 39 for PartinG, who has Stalkers that are really not that great against a lot of tanks and Marauders here for GuMiho. So this attack is looking to be maybe dangerous PartinG gonna rely mostly on the storm.
Well, right now, surely, if GuMiho pushes everything over the other side of the map, he's going to be in a good spot. That surely means that PartinG's got to buy himself some time. Does he want to counter with these Stalkers? How viable can these Stalkers be to him?
I think they just like dance around like this, but ideally they shouldn't die. This is not the top one control he talked about earlier from the Protoss players. He needs to stay out of range, try to buy a little bit of time, make sure GuMiho doesn't get there too fast. But GuMiho slowed down here. Rather than going for an attack, he's getting a third CC.
Observer's going to be spotted here, and that's going to be a nice pick off from GuMiho. He prevents the counter blink to that natural area. That's nice and easy for him to kind of concentrate and filter his forces through the middle, but we have Zealot charge on the way.
He's going to see
Zealot's been walked in. Oh, and actually we missed that. We had a storm drop into the SCV line there, getting rid of 13 SCVs.
That's massive. 42 SCVs are GuMiho's walker count all of a sudden against 50 probes, so PartinG saturated across 3 bases. He's going to be in a great position. GuMiho finally going to move out. Remember, those units, they're not very well upgraded. He has +1 on the way, but remember there is storm. If feedback hits this Raven and his army gets stormed, he could lose everything instantly.
+1 attack is done. Stim, 10 seconds. Here comes the push from GuMiho. How well is PartinG going to deal with this? He sees it happening. He's trying to get down one of the tanks and then blink out before they fire, and he does blink out. Unfortunately, not quite getting rid of that tank. It's very, very low in hit points. And the onslaught continues. One of the Stalkers is going to go down. He's going to get rid of that first tank at the front. And PartinG continues to blink while doing damage. And the push continues on here from GuMiho. Where are the High Templar? At the back. He has the Warp Prism available as well. But he's going to swing around to the left-hand side and here forward move the High Templar. But the tanks are sieged up.
He has to go for it. The third base was getting sieged. Finally, he goes for it. He needs some big storms.
There's one storm. Doesn't really get too much of that bio. And unfortunately, this is a very successful push here from GuMiho so far. And then Archon goes down on the right-hand side. This has been excellent here from GuMiho. PartinG just having a very difficult time. The Nexus is going to be destroyed. Very, very solid and dangerous push through the middle here. And PartinG has no answer.
Yeah, the tank count made it so hard to attack into this army here. And even with High Templars being able to deal with bio, PartinG just didn't have enough. That army supply was like 15 to 20 plus for GuMiho. He sets up the siege and then forced PartinG to attack into him.
And even cannons trying to be walked in to defend this location. GuMiho has tanks on the low ground. Very difficult for PartinG to attack through the middle in that narrow choke point area. He's trying the Warp Prism, dropping some Zealots, looking for some form of harassment. But he's got to find a key to be able to destroy that army below this Nexus. He cannot afford to lose this Nexus. He's already lost his third.
Yeah, this is going to do quite a bit though. There's only very few mortars here back at home to help and defend for GuMiho. But if you look at the supply, still 100 army supply to 66. Eventually should be able to defend that with the Widowmine here as well, helping.
Oh, Widowmine's going to be planted on the high ground there. But at the same time, this fight's going on.
23 SCVs have been killed though. If PartinG can stabilize, he's going to find himself on 47 walkers against 25 Apollo. This is looking a little bit scary all of a sudden for GuMiho.
Getting a little bit low. Great storm there by PartinG. And he's been able to defend the second base. Those tanks though, very, very dangerous tanks. But he's trying to build up this immortal count. There's 4 Widowmines protecting this area. And again, GuMiho pushing towards that Nexus. It's already at half its hit points.
Is there any storms left?
There's a couple of good storms.
He has so many High Templars actually. Some on the right-hand side. He's going to go for more storms.
Oh, and he gets rid of all the Marauders there. Very good defense there by PartinG. And he's able to keep this Nexus alive. Another warp in the unit. And he's going to go try and break this area. He's going to push through. There's 4 or 5 tanks, but they're completely unsupported. And PartinG is going to break this contain. Oh no, wait, there's Marauders and Marines at the top. And he's getting rid of the tanks slowly. There's a Zealot working away at them, but GuMiho pushes towards this Nexus.
Oh, the Archons were idle in the natural. I think he's pretty close to a photon overcharge, but at this point, he really needs to start and stabilize here on that natural. And all the High Templars here are gone. He's whopping in 4 more.
GuMiho continues to push forward. PartinG almost been able to break that. He's trying to get his economy back online. What a crazy first map between these two players, going right at each other. Warp Prism from PartinG.
This one was spotted, and I think okay, he's trying to catch some of these Zealots here in the middle of the map before they can even get picked up. The Warp Prism's going to get shut down.
What does PartinG have to defend against all these Marine Marauders right now? He lost all of his High Templar.
Well, he remade 4, which I think should be pretty close to having a storm, but army supply 33 to 78. There's just no winning the fight.
Well, not if he's going to load it up and take the fight into the main base. GuMiho picks up the majority, and he's going to boost himself in. And PartinG's like, oh no, he's there. And he's got to spread these units around because the High Templar are very slow, but if they land the correct storms, Zealots get walked in defensively, but a fantastic position. Photon overcharge and activated onto this Nexus. PartinG's going to come in. He's got to take this slowly. He's got to be able to nail this. Where are the storms coming out? Oh, GuMiho's gonna pick up and get out. PartinG saves the Nexus.
I can't believe he saved that Nexus, but I mean, these Widow Mines alone are going to be such a pain for PartinG to deal with. I don't think he has any Immortals. He has, sure as hell, doesn't have any Colossus.
Oh, Storm Drop here from PartinG and another warping of 5 or 6 Zealots. But that's a lot of Widow Mines that GuMiho has outside this base. The drop still in the main. GuMiho continuing to put the pressure on the Twilight Council. Going to be picked off outside the range of this Photon Overcharge. But look at this, he's not really mining efficiently. He does have that third base running though. That's very, very good for GuMiho. Storms to defend the front as they do get rid of some of these Marine
Photon
Marauders.
Overcharge right now.
Oh, no Mothership Core now, Todd.
Those Widow Mines have no counter here. Like I said, no Immortal, not even any Stalkers really to work with back at home. GuMiho struggling to hold though. I mean, with the Widow Mines that he has.
The Zealots and Archon in here being completely frustrating for GuMiho to defend back at home, and PartinG continues to defend this. He's going to get rid of this Widow Mine with an Observer coming out. And PartinG's counters have been so crucial in slowing and stopping this down. 3 more Zealots onto the third base, and a tough battle between these two players in this best of 5.
He might be able to do it.
He's going to clean up all these Widow Mines. He actually loses quite a lot of the Zealots in order to do so. But GuMiho has been forced to retreat all the way to the other side to defend against these counters.
What a crazy first game we are seeing. So many walkers have been killed, an incredible amount. And behind this, PartinG's going to try to re-expand. How many walkers have died actually from each side?
A lot.
He's killed 48. Okay,
48,
not
16. But
GuMiho down to 23 SCVs up over.
3 command centers though, that's working to his favor, but he's got a lot of Widow Mines, he's got a lot of tools, but he doesn't have Ghosts. He's having a hard time against these High Templars.
Oh, there's a lot of Storms available too. This timing could do a lot of damage here, especially with the Archons. Oh my god, that's 5 Archons
here, 5 Zealots being warped in somewhere on this map. They're very close to that third, I think. And we're about to see PartinG push forward after deflecting multiple waves of aggression from GuMiho. PartinG goes into the natural here, and he can retreat. All the units that have got to come defend have to walk through storms.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard for GuMiho to engage into this right now. He's not even thinking about it. He's going to go for a counter-attack to maybe try and play either for a base trade or a drop, although he's already flying away.
Oh, here we go. What does PartinG have? He has 3 High Templar. They need to build up the energy to deal with this. GuMiho deciding to just surrender everything on the left to PartinG and hope of killing everything that PartinG has left over. The units land themselves on the natural. There are 3 High Templar. If GuMiho walks into storms and loses these units, he'll lose the game.
I think PartinG might win. Look at this. Army supply 54 to 65. He has a few probes out on the map. Enough minerals to restart a Nexus.
High Templar hidden to the top left, 3 of them. And GuMiho is going to march into this space. Is he going to be paying attention? Here they come. Ah, there's one. That's a very good storm. He's going to land the second storm. He gets rid of almost half of the army. Some of it's going to get healed back up. But this, I mean, these units, they can't attack these flying structures. What does PartinG have left over? Where is his pros? Where are his structures? Because this is completely over.
Yeah, I think he's gonna take a base on the left-hand side and then rebuild from there. But right now, that third base from GuMiho is still mining.
Yeah, and that's the rest of the High Templar done. Good evasion of the storm inside that main base.
Oh, the Widow Mines. The Widow Mines. He needs. Okay, he knows about them. He's too good for that.
Yeah, Observer seeing that SCV's working on this.
How many buildings does PartinG have left? Not that many. He really needs to make the Nexus very soon here.
Yeah, everything is going to be cleaned up there, and we are going to get rid of the Widow Mines.
GuMiho needs to evacuate that third base, by the way. Okay, he's going to do just that.
Right now, PartinG doesn't have a structure on this side of the map yet. He hasn't built one yet, I don't think.
Oh, the Widow Mine down there. Not going to do much. Archons are pretty good at tanking Widow Mines, and GuMiho actually sacrificed a lot of those rather than regrouping.
All right, there's the Nexus come down for PartinG, so everything's going to get turned off. Unfortunately for Protoss, they can't fly with their structures. Yeah. GuMiho can, so he's actually got a lot of his production in the air, and he's going to put them down. Yes, it is.
Oh, he's going to double expand in PartinG's base?
Yes, he is, Todd. Yes, he is.
Well, I guess the main is kind of forfeit because there's no minerals there, but quite a few walkers
the bunkers are ready, PartinG's outside the wall.
He sees the Widow Mine. He's going to get right in there. He can't let all of these bunkers finish and the units get in there.
They're all cancelled. Okay, the wall has been shut down.
Is he going to go up the ramp, though? It's very, very risky.
This is the only command center that GuMiho has.
Something's coming from behind. The SCVs are trapped out.
PartinG
he's ready to base trade.
PartinG sees the Medivacs.
He needs to catch up, though. He's getting outrun.
Very slow. Archons and the High Templar having a hard time catching up, but he finds the Nexus, and he's going to unload, but PartinG's army's right there. 2 Marines. No, you guys get into the Medivac. One of them survives, Todd, and he gets picked up. And now this expansion, mining here.
He's going to send the Zealots on the right-hand side to shut down the economy of GuMiho here. And there is a few observers out, so usually in this situation, you can think about getting a Cloak Banshee, but I don't think that here in this game, it'd be that good against 4 observers.
Oh my god, these 2 High Templar, he's forgotten about them. Yeah, Funker showed us a little bit earlier on. They'd be a surprise if GuMiho flew somewhere in that direction. Zealot shut down, the bunkers rising with more and more Marines being added into the mix here to fortify this area. 2 high, oh my god, he's gonna actually fly. Oh my god, I can't believe you forgot about those 2 High Templar.
Yeah, this is a massive deal here. Gonna go for some tanking here with the Archons. He's gonna lose 1 instantly.
Let's get Luminous, so he can't.
They're gonna get dropped on top of. I don't think they can go back as well. They're gonna get surrounded.
Oh, GuMiho finds these storms come in, but PartinG loses a lot of that army, Todd. And he's continuing to lose more and more and more, and this might be it. This might be a GG! Whoa, what a game 1 between these 2 players. That was very entertaining, very back and forth. Any of the 2 could have won that, but it is GuMiho at the end that came out on top. If you can, break some of that down for us.
I mean, just pure slugfest, man. He opens with Blink Stalkers. GuMiho, for some reason, who hadn't really seen much, kind of anticipated it, went for some of his own tanks. I think he was planning a push, surely. You know, the Raven and the amount of tanks that he was getting, Marauders here as well, that really helps against that. And in the end, PartinG underestimated greatly that push here. He didn't have enough, especially in terms of Immortals. He had a lot of High Templars, but he didn't engage early enough for the High Templars to be relevant. He let GuMiho siege in front of his base, so then he had to engage into the tanks because he was losing his 3rd base. And he engaged in a bad position too early. It just went from bad to worse. Somehow, he's just so good that he was able to hold, and I mean, it's just so perfect that we hyped this match as 2 unstoppable forces meet, because that's really what we saw here. Like 2 Titans literally clashed just right before you, and one of them came out on top in the end. That was GuMiho.
Well, PartinG suffers his 3rd map loss in this tournament now. GuMiho continues his undefeated run so far in this tournament. There has only been 1 player ever in DreamHack history to go completely undefeated all the way to the finals and win that, and that was Tasia in the summer of 2014.
Was it 17-0?
17-0 it was, Todd. GuMiho approaching that record and looking to go very similar like Tasia all the way to the trophy without losing a single map. So far, so good, as we do get ready for map number 2. Going to be loading into that very, very shortly. France, how you doing out there? Raise your baguettes, France!
They actually got baguettes.
Hope you guys have been enjoying it. It's time to load into map number 2 in the grand finals of the DreamHack Open 2015, live from Tours in France. Down here in the bottom right-hand side is the blue Terran player playing for MVP and Invasion Esports. It's GuMiho! And up here to the top left, needs to win this to tie it up as the red Protoss player playing for Yowie Flash Wolves. It's the party boy himself, PartinG!
PartinG, who previously lost a map in his tournament to Uthermal, so maybe a little bit of weakness, you know, versus Terran. And that first game, though, you know, it really wasn't your typical Protoss versus Terran game. Like, as disappointing as it can be to lose that, you can't really look at it as like, well, you know, I played Standard, he played Standard, and then he was better than me. This was a very weird, special game, so I think PartinG from there should be looking to play a little bit more Standard. No Templar Archive too early on, which, by the way, the positioning of his Templar Archive was actually kind of bad. Like around his natural, just waiting to get sniped, and GuMiho much obliged when he got there.
All right, while these starting builds are taking shape here, Todd, I think that something we haven't really talked about too much is that GuMiho has such a unique style. He doesn't play like many other Terran players out there, and for PartinG, this must be a bit of a difficult task to approach.
Yeah.
When a Terran player plays like everybody else that you beat week in, week out, and then you meet someone that just plays their very own style, this is a very difficult approach for PartinG compared to normal.
The thing is, even though that's true, if GuMiho does something like that in every single game and plays his own style, you know, play with these funky, quick factories, I think PartinG is going to be able to adjust well enough that he's going to be in a good position, you know, in terms of countering what GuMiho is doing. So he's going a little bit around, trying to dodge that SCV here, maybe.
He does see it.
We do have a Reaper opener, though, against a quick Nexus for PartinG.
The SCV is going to go into the main base and have a quick look inside. Single gas has been taken so far as the information that GuMiho picks up. Zealot currently under construction, what will be cancelled to place this Nexus down.
GuMiho, though, does he keep on mining gas? Yes, he's doing just that. Even after starting the reactor here, he's already up to 60 gas. So we're going to be starting a factory momentarily. Usually, you know, you get the CC here as well with this. And GuMiho not going to change his initial opener, but I'm curious to see whether he goes into tanks and a Raven again here. I don't think so. Honestly, like, this is not supposed to be that great. And the fact that, by the way, PartinG last game, he made something like, what, 16 Stalkers?
Yeah.
Against a lot of not only Marauders, but siege tanks. That's why I didn't have enough. Like, if I had to pick one single biggest mistake in that game, that was probably that. To make that many Stalkers against somebody that's getting siege tank. I think if you get that many Stalkers, you need to commit more to aggression to try and do more damage. Break the tanks, go for the SCVs, trade the Stalkers for SCVs, but now he just ended up having to pull back because there was way too many tanks. And then, I mean, if you make the wrong unit that doesn't counter your opponent's unit, surely you're not going to do well in the fight. And that first game was no different.
Well, a second gas has been taken here from GuMiho, and we have the robotics facility very early on from PartinG, rather than the Twilight Council from the previous game. A very similar pathway for GuMiho.
Gas, man. Again, I can't believe this guy just...
So he's going to play the same?
He's
it looks
doing
like
his
it.
own
I mean,
thing.
it's following the same way.
Maybe with the Cloak Banshee this time?
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see exactly where he goes with this. But the robotics facility is down for PartinG. He's not going to be going for the blink as he did in the previous game. So this makes him more defensively, unless he starts a mortal production very early on from this facility.
It's funny, actually, to see PartinG open Robo. It almost feels like if GuMiho, like, this first game bothered PartinG so much that he might be playing standard. Like, when has PartinG really ever, like, played standard like this in this kind of game? He loves to open with blink. He loves to be the one leading the pace. But now, up against a pretty wild card, you know, somebody who's been doing very well like GuMiho, he chooses to take the more conservative approach in that second map here on Echo.
Well, it is going to be a Raven again. So GuMiho opting for the same openings. Third gas has been taken.
Wow, I can't wait to ladder and face all the Terrans that will open Raven, Apollo.
Open up Raven, Widow Mines, and then he's going to start to build that tank production with the tech lab being added on into the main base. The Reaper, though, still alive. Is going to have a look, but unfortunately shut down by these Stalkers. They're not going to be able to get a kill on it. It did turn around at a good speed. But GuMiho doesn't know what he's playing against yet.
Yeah, he's getting, oh my god, he's getting a Warp Prism plus a Robobay. Could this be a Colossus drop?
It could be, yes.
This can still be, you know, by the way, just standard Colossus, but with a Warp Prism out on the map, ready to drop as GuMiho moves out. But Colossus even, you know, gets tanks, and Cloak started.
The Observer there
Banshee behind this.
moves into the main base. He's going to see the starport with the tech lab researching Cloak.
Does GuMiho notice the Observer, by the way?
No,
It's very important to snipe it. Yeah, he's following it.
Is he though, or is he just bringing it with his Marines? I think he's just following this army down there. Well, he's going to see it now as PartinG flies into the Raven.
Yeah, he didn't know there was a Raven, that's why he went over there. And now he's going to lose the first Observer here, PartinG. Does he have another one? I hope for him, because he has to start Colossus production. Okay, he does have one around the main in case there were Widow Mines to be dropped. And behind this, tanks being made.
Yeah, tanks being made, and Warp Prism speed being researched hard.
And then behind is going for Forge and a Twilight Council Colossus plus Blink. Right now, PartinG thinks he's likely to be playing against Bio. We don't know yet. GuMiho probably hasn't even picked whether he's going to be playing Bio or Mech.
Well, he's decided on another factory, Todd.
Yep, he decided. He finally decided.
So we're going to have a Mech game coming out from GuMiho against PartinG, who has Warp Prism speed on its way. The first Colossus has been built. And the last thing that PartinG saw was Banshees, tanks, Raven Marines from 2 base. He has not spotted that this third command center's come down yet. He has a probe out on the map, but this is actually key information.
Yeah.
I mean, right now he could be getting ready to prepare for an attack that could be pushing out very shortly from GuMiho. He could be planting down his Nexus shortly, knowing that there's not really an attack possible from GuMiho at this point.
Cluster Cannon in the main here, fully realizing that, you know, there's the Cloak Banshee there.
Is there an Observer?
No, I don't think it's that close. Where is it?
I mean,
it's going back now. It's flying back.
I mean, he saw the Tech Lab research in Cloak, but I guess that he didn't really do anything about it. Cannon's been added on very late, but we do have a Colossus drop now.
That was a very
way.
quick third, by the way, here with this for GuMiho. I can't believe how well.
Oh, there's a Widowmine here. It's going to do a bit of damage to this Warp Prism. And a Raven and Banshee coming in to help do some damage here, but this Colossus is going to be a bit of a nuisance.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a Viking start momentarily here to completely shut this down here with the Warp Prism. Actually, the Raven, if it gets close enough, it drops down an auto turrets.
I mean, right now, though, we got double armory coming in. GuMiho's taking this very fast third base, Todd. He's now adding on his production. He's slowly starting to build up his army size. But what is PartinG doing? He's on the other side of the map. He's just getting now an attack upgrade. He's adding on more gateways. What's his plan? Where is he going?
Honestly, right now, this is looking like GuMiho's the world champion and PartinG is like the outsider. Like, I think GuMiho is just going to be happy to stabilize on 3 bases. He's going to mass a massive mech army with which he's going to be doing very well unless PartinG can make something happen before that. And you don't get Blinkstalkers and Colossus against mech. It just doesn't work unless you can hit a timing that you can somehow make work. But in this game, I'm really not sure what to think right now. You know, he's warping more Stalkers. You don't have that many Zealots. Maybe if he has some crazy Warp Prism micro, drops on top of the tanks and then goes for a favorable attack.
Yeah.
But I mean, with a Raven in there, with a Banshee here as well.
Well, Blink now done, and PartinG's going to blink into this natural area. Some of the tanks are very far out of position. There's a couple of Banshees in assistance to this. 2-point defense throws go down, which shut down a lot of these Stalker shots. And right now, this is a pretty solid defense from GuMiho. PartinG just got nothing out of that, and he gets shut down immediately. Very, very solid play once again from GuMiho, deflecting that. He's now got his double armory close to finishing 1-1 upgrades. His third command center's gone untouched. His production's getting really rapid with the amount of units he's pushing out. And again, more and more tanks solidifying this area. PartinG's have a difficult time.
Yeah, PartinG's committing so much to this here, realizing he's not on the right tech and he cannot just sit back at home against a mech army. The sentry getting very low, he's gonna get sniped. Very important sentry, even like you know, 1 Guardian Shield as well as a hallucination, which you can use for an Immortal to tank for those tanks. Right now, the tank line is just massive here for GuMiho.
He's going to try and break this. He blinks forward. He's going to grab 1 tank, 2 tank, 3 tank. He's going to try and get 4. Zealot trying to make their way in as well. Banshees come to support. Halbart's going to deal very well with this. 1 Colossus very low. Great push forward there from PartinG. An unfortunate unsiege there from GuMiho. PartinG's going to blink forward. He's going to try and bring down some more of these units. Cloak Banshee's dealing a lot of damage there. There is an Observer, and he's trying to bring down this tank. GuMiho is starting to crumble on this natural.
Yeah, there's nothing to completely shut down the Colossi. And right now, they're just going to stay alive for a very long time. If PartinG can break this with just pure Stalkers as reinforcements, he's going to be able to win the game.
2 Banshees doing a lot of damage. They now get taken out. Vikings slowly being brought out of the sky as well as 1 Colossus survives at the back there. And PartinG continues the onslaught. 1 Banshee gets 1 Colossus, 1 Banshee gets the 2nd Colossus. And PartinG gets pushed back for another time. He has no Observer. It has been picked off. And again, 1-1 now completed for GuMiho. He lost a few SCVs in that attack. PartinG continuing on, and he's forced the retreat from this third base. This was a nice set of attacks from PartinG and a successful couple of moves.
This is so smart by GuMiho, by the way. He realized that it's too hard against Blinkstalkers and Colossus to defend the natural plus third base because of all the mobility that PartinG has. So he flies into the main, but look at this, PartinG doesn't even care. He's just gonna blink in there, but on the other side of the map, there are Hellions getting ready to roast all of those pros.
Command center going down there, and then we have Hellions. Are they going to be well? Photon overcharge activated. Colossus dealing with this more than fine, and even Stalkers there too. 4 Hellions still alive. Stalkers get walked in. 3rd command center down. 1 factory being picked off as well as another one. And this is very good from PartinG. Great dealing with the counter. Great move with these Stalkers, and he's going to blink out of here. All happy daisy. 1 Stalker at a time, and now he blinks the rest out. And what a crazy game again. But PartinG coming out on top, Todd.
Yeah, this is the one way you can deal with mech if you end up opening with Blinkstalkers and Colossus. Just really abuse the mobility of that army against the tanks that have to siege and can't move around nearly all that fast. Even though GuMiho was far ahead in army supply, PartinG with a great army movement the whole time, able to just create a big difference. He's saturated on 3 bases all of a sudden. He's in great position. This reminds me of like some of the PvT we saw, you know, in the old days in EPS between Goody and Hazuops. On Shattered Temple.
On Shattered Temple.
Meg versus Blink Colossus.
Yeah, hashtag Throwback Thursday there, Todd. Some games a very, very long time ago. And now more Colossus moving forwards. And this is a pretty powerful next attack that's building up top.
Yeah, GuMiho in resources lost almost at 10,000 against below 7,000 here for PartinG. But again, PartinG is very heavily, I guess, Stalker orientated here in his army. He has quite a few of them, and they are not going to be that great against a mech army, unless he can get a lot of, I guess, of mid-shield at the front with maybe Charge Lot and High Templars. But you know what? He doesn't plan on taking any straight-up fight anyway. He's still going to keep on abusing the mobility of those units. Blinking in the main once again.
Yeah, Widowmine there, though. And there's a couple of tanks in position, but how much will they really do? There's the Stalker's doing quite a bit of damage. And it's probably better for PartinG to want to leave shortly. He's starting to lose quite a few of those Stalkers. Is it wise for him to be attacking into GuMiho on 2 bases consistently, or is it better for him just to try and contain and delay GuMiho from retaking this third?
Yeah, the thing is, if you can trade cost effectively, I think it's good, but right now I don't think it's right, because GuMiho is still on 2 bases. I think PartinG is just waiting for GuMiho to retake the third, and then going for a favorable fight would be a great way to play this.
Delays that third, gets the SCV building that command center. He's trying to poke forward to see what else he can do, delays it again, and he's actually getting close to a full cancel here, and that is almost fully completed command center.
Lift!
It finishes, and he's going to lift it, and next time is PartinG going to blink? Yes, he is! He brings it down! PartinG destroying the third command center yet again. Great moves. And GuMiho thrown back to 2 bases.
We've talked about PartinG being overly aggressive at times, Apollo, and so far in this game here, he's done a fantastic job of never getting overly aggressive. It was always calculated attacks, and now here, finally, we might have a big fight. I don't think that PartinG has to fight yet, but he's still going to go for it because the tanks were in siege.
Yeah, tanks weren't siege. These Hellbats just taking so much damage versus these Colossus.
Warp Prism in the main.
Trading off that while Warp Prism flies into the main base. Zealots here as GuMiho moves out. PartinG moves in, and now Zealot's going to absolutely shred that mineral line with Zealot charge. Tank going to go down instantly, and GuMiho has to come back to defend. As much as he probably wanted to maybe think about attacking or moving out, he has to come back to deal with this, buying PartinG more and more time to rebuild what he just lost, expand to another base, have time to throw down a Dark Shrine, 6 additional High Templar. The command center cancelled yet again, consistently hunting that down.
At this point, GuMiho must be starting to get desperate. I wouldn't be surprised if he just moved across the map and tried to go for an attack, but even then PartinG probably would have enough to defend against that. Taking a 4th base, going for a Dark Shrine. I don't even think there is that many turrets. No, just sending DTs everywhere.
There's none. This has been an absolutely wonderful game from PartinG. Just so very aggressive while doing everything back at home. 33 SCVs have been killed off with this multi-staged attacks from Stalkers. He's now switched fully to an army composition that is going to be Immortals and Archons. He has Dark Temple that he can use very shortly. GuMiho has one last stance. He doesn't have that third command center anymore. He's going to start to push across the map. And to be honest, he's doing very well. But where is the rest of PartinG's army? Because we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with these retreating Stalkers and Colossus.
He's going to have some Immortals and most of all Archons to work with here. He can even pull some probes if he wants to. He has that many more anyway with 16 against 25 SCVs. This is, I think, GuMiho's final push here. He's committed everything he has to this. He's unsieging right now. He's going to leap forward, and PartinG goes for it.
PartinG goes for it. Time Warp on top of the tanks, twice on top of the tanks. A blink to the right to get really close, and PartinG is going to be able to smash this through. He's got so many Immortals, so many Archons, and that is that from GuMiho. Unfortunately, not good enough. GG. It's 1-1, and PartinG played an excellent map number 2 there. Absolutely brilliant display of Stalker usage in a different way to play against mech. You talked about it at the very start of that game. You don't build Stalker Colossus versus mech because it's not that good in heads-up fights, but the way that PartinG played that just completely shredded GuMiho.
It's not a durable army, but playing like he did, trying to abuse the immobility of your opponents is one of the ways that you can do it. But if you think about it, that's probably one of the best maps to go for mech like this and secure 3 bases, but somehow PartinG still made it work. I don't know how. Just beautiful blinks, beautiful positioning, never really overextending. We talked about this, you know, sometimes he gets overly aggressive. That's how he loses games. Kinda was the case too in the first game. Even though he ended up pulling back on time, he warped in way too many Stalkers, but in this game, he knew that he had to. It's probably the conclusion actually that he got from the first game that allowed him to do this. He was like, well, I made something like 16, I had 16 Stalkers at the time, and I didn't go for it, so his counterattack killed me. And in the second game, I was like, I'm not going to make the same mistake. This time, I'm actually going for it, and it just worked out.
One step closer to one of these players taking that trophy on stage. PartinG not going to roll over and go down 0-2. And he delivers the first loss of the tournament to GuMiho, who so far, as mentioned, gone completely undefeated. He's now had to type GG for the very first time over these last couple of days. And now we're going to get ready to go into game number 3 very, very shortly. But now PartinG starting to understand what GuMiho is about in this final, having a good feel for his style. And now game number 3 is going to be a game of adaptation. What exactly is GuMiho going to do slightly different now? Because PartinG is already adapting to what we've seen GuMiho present.
I mean, it could be a good time to go for something like a Stargate. It's not necessarily going to be that, especially since GuMiho doesn't seem to mix in Widowmine's particularly early on. So if you go for an Oracle, you can do quite some damage, especially if you're as good as PartinG. If you think about the build of GuMiho, like, there is a few very good ways to counter this. You can play, I think, a little bit greedy, rush a third base, and then go into a lot of production to hold off the future attack that's going to come your way. GuMiho's build is very good defensively, so either you find the one tech path or like the very few timings that you can hit against it that will do some damage, or I think you go all grids. That can be also one way to deal with this. You really rush a third base, go into a lot of gateways, maybe charge out High Templar, and then you do well.
PartinG on search for another StarCraft 2 tournament. GuMiho on search for his very first championship. In 5 years of playing StarCraft 2, every single day, 10, 12 hours of playing consistently, training in team houses, playing within the GSL repeatedly over the years, been one of the most consistent Terran players within the GSL, finally has traveled abroad and is here playing again at his 3rd DreamHack tournament, and now just maps away from searching for that victory here at DreamHack Open in Tours. But PartinG, no stranger to these international events. He was a little bit quiet over the last year or two, having been on SK Telecom and working hard on that team. But he's back here at an international event, playing live in France for you guys at home and here live in France. Game number 3. We continue the search for the first DreamHack champion of 2015. Down here to the bottom left-hand side is the blue Terran player. Make some noise for GuMiho! And up here to the top right, a fan favorite, the tournament favorite, as the red Protoss player is PartinG!
And GuMiho, being a part of the MVP Alliance, taking part in Pro League, I'm sure you're going to be seeing a lot of him in the future after his results here, man. He definitely should be on the A team and playing every match after this.
He's excellent performances. He's re-qualified for top 16 within the GSL. He's here playing in the grand final of the DreamHack Open. But PartinG is no stranger to being a champion. He's had multiple titles to his name in the past, and he wants this. He wants to be able to go out tonight, have a couple of cheeky beverages, and enjoy himself as the DreamHack champion of 2015. But funny enough, when it comes to Protoss in DreamHack, we haven't had a Protoss champion since DreamHack Open in summer of 2013 with that famous Stardust win versus Jaedong was the last time we saw a Protoss champion on stage. And since then, it's been back and forth between Terran and Zerg, Terran and Zerg.
Protoss has had some success before that. Hug Hero, you know, Liquid Hero. And see, in this game with the gas first GuMiho, man, he's mixing it up so nicely, you know? And so far, he hasn't played standard at all. Like, he has no desire whatsoever to play with a standard build here up against PartinG.
What is exactly GuMiho planning here? Obviously, he's gone for this very fast factory, but well, I mean, where does he branch off from this? I mean, hold that thought, because at the same time, PartinG having a look around with the probe, but yeah, where is GuMiho going with this?
I think a much quicker stop wall this time, and then maybe a Widowmine drop could really surprise PartinG. If he opens Blink again and, you know, delays his Robo, this can do quite a bit of damage, and then you can fall apart from there. With GuMiho, though, it's really hard to predict. This guy's literally able to do anything he wants to. Rushing a Cloak Banshee wouldn't even surprise me from him at this point.
Oh, GuMiho goes inside, confirms what's up. Sees one gas, sees that Nexus planted. Unfortunately for PartinG, he's had a look around the map, more so than looking inside GuMiho's base, and...
Oh, that's...
Oh, never mind. buddy old Steve here came
Yeah.
to help Mark at the front.
The thing is, he saw no command center, I think.
He saw no command center, that is true, but he didn't see exactly what's behind closed doors.
Yep. Would have been nice to see. If he saw that there was no wall, would have been a pretty big tell as to what this is. But I think right now he should be suspecting. Like in StarCraft, you can't always exactly know what your opponent is doing. So one way to scout is to do what PartinG just did, and then deduce what it can be from there. Right now, he knows that it's not an expansion. And it's likely to be, either some quick factory, could be a number of aggressions with barracks here and there, but not really because it's not that good. So a lot of the time, it's going to be a factory, a starport with a medivac. Sometimes with the mines, sometimes with Hellions. So far, it's one Hellion that has started here. And PartinG is going to need to be getting ready for this. And finally, we see the first target being made in this game. And with one Widow Mines already be out, this could get a little bit dicey here, Apollo, with an Oracle probably in the plans here for PartinG.
Dicey is one way to describe this situation. The medevac's about to complete. We already have a Widow Mine out. A second gateway's been added on by PartinG. He sees the Hellion now with this probe that's on the other side of the map. Who was touching that Xel'Naga tower.
Going for a Phoenix here, I think, could be really nice to pick up the Widow Mines that you can anticipate are going to be dropping. In this case, it's just one, as well as a bunch of Marines with the Hellion knocking at the front door.
He spent a lot of the Chrono Boost into the cybernetics core for this Warp Gate research. Stargate's finished, but it is an Oracle. And in comes GuMiho. If he gets a decent chunk of probes, he could be looking at a very convincing lead here. PartinG has a pylon that gives a slight range, and he's going to move in. Good activation of the photon overcharge. Probes move out on time, and just a single probe there got picked off, and the Medivac really hasn't done too much. This is a very successful defense here. Oracle pops out too. Oh, which way are you going?
Yeah, he has to detect that. He
Gets
has
rid of the
else.
Widow Mine, and he's only got seconds left with this Medivac here, Todd. Phoenix almost out. What are you going to do, GuMiho? I think he's just going to sacrifice it.
Yeah, he can't go anywhere with this. Actually, hey, he's going for the drop before. Very nice move, but that's not going to do anything with the photon overcharge being... Oh, actually, he gets one probe.
But very nice defense there.
Yeah.
Well
really,
done
really
there
nice.
from PartinG. Very, very well done there for PartinG. Is now GuMiho has now just finished up with that command center. He's going to try it again, but that was nice from PartinG. Remember, he didn't exactly see what he was playing against. He had a lot of assumptions. He guessed correctly. And now he moves on to the next stage with a 4-worker advantage. His opponent has only 1 orbital command for the time being, but still has another attempt at probe damage.
Yeah, and with the Oracle actually needs to stay at home to detect this. I don't think he's getting a robo right now, but it's not going to be finished anytime soon. So this could be really scary here for PartinG. Is there a second photon overcharge up? Because he's not leaving the Phoenix there to pick up.
Not quite, but he does have 3 Stalkers and 2 Sentries in that mineral line. Oracle comes in and finds a couple of Marines, gets 3-4 Marines instantly.
The drop's going to hit
very nice. He gets an SCV, gets the second one as well, slows down the barracks. At the same time,
the Widow Mine.
The drop, what is he going to get from the Widow Mine? It gets a single probe as PartinG pulls a single probe out from the pack.
Wow.
And that is a very good defense at the same time, using that Oracle aggressively. And again, PartinG shuts down GuMiho. And GuMiho is falling further behind in this series. He has the Widow Mine that is reloading, doesn't have detection yet.
Did he lose like 2 probes only so far?
I think so, and he waits for the Widow Mine to shoot its next load here, mates. And that probe, unfortunately, is a victim.
Can we see the units lost out like this?
I got 2. That guy survived. 7 probes.
He lost 7 probes, but killed 2 Widow Mines, 2 SCVs, 2 Medivacs, 14 Marines, and 1 Hellion. Not bad.
Very good.
That's what I call cost-effective, Apollo.
45 workers for PartinG, 35 now for GuMiho on 2 command centers. Late with Stim, late with combat shields, just late in general with building up an army because of the aggressive manner he approached this map. And PartinG now free to do whatever he wants. He's chrono boosting into his Forge to get that attack upgrade. Added on the Twilight Council, added on some extra cannons in case we see another attempt from GuMiho.
And this time GuMiho not going to be messing around with any mech. It's going to be Bio with the Steam Pack that he's still getting a bunch of tanks, wants to be safe.
Oh, PartinG goes in again. 5 more workers, 5 more Marines, a couple more workers, 4 more workers and escapes. PartinG has really knocked it up a couple of gears coming into map number 2 and map number 3.
16 kills.
And this is a very convincing lead that PartinG's built himself.
Yeah, getting some Vikings here at GuMiho. I mean, from here, it's just so hard to recover, I feel, for GuMiho, especially since, he's not even playing standard. He's getting tanks, which as good as they are defensively, unless you're going for a massive push, they're not going to do all that much.
Yeah.
You see, now the gateway explosion's happening, and from there, PartinG is going to have a lot of Blink Stalkers to shut down anything that's being thrown at him. He's going to have the Colossus to work with as well. Can go very easily into a third base and be pretty safe.
Yeah, and GuMiho's even added on 2 extra barracks behind this, just going up to almost maximum production capacity from these 2 bases and the amount of money that he's bringing in. And PartinG doing something very similar as well, increasing this gateway count. He's going to start pumping out these Stalkers as he's reached more than enough money and probes to be able to bring from these 2 bases. He's going to put down this third base. A wonderful position here for our Protoss player. And the next move has to come from GuMiho. He's behind in this game. He needs to turn it around. Combat Shield is done. Stim is now done. He's got a small but still valuable army. But how can he really do anything? He has to attack, right? There's no third command center.
Yeah. Just like in the first game, he's completely skipped that. He's only pumping out units right now. And you can see he's still a little bit ahead. Or actually, PartinG just got back up. But in terms of army supply, it's very even. And as soon as GuMiho starts moving across the map, this is going to be getting a little bit scary here for PartinG, who's going to have to get enough, ideally with some Archons and Charge Loss on the ground.
And is this Oracle really going to survive all the way out from that base?
Yeah, this is...
Unfortunately not. Hero Oracle goes down. PartinG having a look, weighing up this army size. Sees a decent amount of tanks and Marines.
Yeah, what is he doing so far? He's actually exposing himself to counter drops here.
Yeah.
Which we saw GuMiho pick up very, very quickly some units here. He's trying to chase down, I think, an Observer. Probably got it.
Well, +1 attack about to finish here for GuMiho. He unloads his Medivacs, and it looks like this is going to be the push that GuMiho is banking a lot on. No third command center, but PartinG has 2 Colossus, another one about to pop, decent upgrades, Blink and Force Fields available. Tanks unsieged, he finds a couple of these Marauders and Marines, even squeezes a couple of them out with that 3rd Force Field and picks up a fair share of them. Tank siege up again, but he killed off quite a few Marine Marauders there.
He's going to buy time beautifully in this game. Unlike in the first game where he had only Stalkers and couldn't do that. This time he has the Colossus to escort those, getting 2 more additional gateways here. PartinG, he only has to make units from there to get enough to defend against these 2 bases.
1 Viking, 2 Viking, and Blink out of there. Once again, PartinG efficient. And look at the resources lost to the bottom right-hand side. 850 for PartinG, but 3,000 and more for GuMiho throughout this game. A wonderful display of micro and excellence from PartinG, and he's getting ready for one fight. And that fight is to beat this army up, and when he does that, he will go 2-1 in this series. GuMiho has 1 shot, and PartinG gonna delay this. He's gonna break these rocks down, buying himself a couple of extra seconds. As you can see, GuMiho stuck on the other side, and GuMiho just gonna lift everything on top of the Colossus. He's gonna go for it. PartinG's army a little bit too far away, all the Stalkers on the other side, but he only gets a single Colossus, and PartinG just deals with that excellently, picks up a Raven, picks up a Viking. GuMiho tried something, it didn't work. He's got to go for another attack with what he's got left, and very similar to the previous game, Dark Shrine being added on. GuMiho, attack, 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 and all PartinG has to do is stop this once.
Yeah, through the back door this time here. Maybe with a siege from down there. It's interesting, actually, that position that he's taking right now. There's a lot of Stalkers. It's actually going to be kind of hard. Look at the siege range here.
Yeah, very beautiful position for GuMiho, making the best of this situation. Tanks covering this ramp range as he drops into the main base. And this is not bad. The Viking's been taken out. So it's going to be very hard for GuMiho to get towards those 3 Colossus. The Tank's dealing so much here.
If he just picks up and leave here, he's already done so much damage. But I mean, there is a third base here for PartinG. Time's running out for GuMiho, who still doesn't have a third base, Apollo. But this attack is not over.
It's not over yet, but a 4th Colossus has entered the fray. A wonderful position here. And look again, another set of tank firing range onto that ramp.
The Dark Shrine finished, I think, and there is no Raven anymore. So if he sends some DTs across the map, there is no turrets.
Very abusable position here, and PartinG realizing that this looked quite simple at first, but now this has become a little bit of a problem.
It's funny because PartinG closing the gate here, by the way, in the middle of the map. It's playing against him right now. He can't go around to
Dark
swoop in.
Templars coming towards the SCV mineral line.
Actually, there is a turret because there was the Oracle earlier, I think, in the mineral line of the natural. Is there not?
No, it's not, Todd.
Oh
SCV death time as PartinG arrives with his 2 Dark Templar. 1 swipe, 1 death, and he's going to continue that on. And this is gutting the economy that GuMiho has back at home. He can use these Dark Templars aggressively as well, mixed in with his army. As you said, there is no Raven. And here we go, PartinG going to start to seize this position. Takes a bit of damage again from the tanks.
He should keep on sending DTs to that army to force more scans here.
Here
He
we
definitely
go.
can afford to. The first one's going to get in there, maybe try and slay some of the tanks. If he can reduce the tank count, this is going to be a landslide victory. Nice pickup here for GuMiho. But PartinG engaged.
As he unsieges, he engages, and now PartinG's going to look to try to clean this up. The Colossus not really doing that much. There's 1 or 2 not firing, and GuMiho pushes PartinG back into the main base despite his tanks being unsieged. What a crazy game again. Only a single tank remains, but 2 Dark Templar underneath this army. No scans. He was using them defensively. He's got nothing to deal with these Dark Templar.
Yeah, at this point he's reduced the army size of GuMiho enough that if he had some more Dark Templars, just morph them into Archons and go for an engagement, it's going to be almost impossible for GuMiho to win it. He's going to have to kite. But remember, it's very hard to kite when you have tank siege, which you do need to have siege against the Colossus, even though he has quite a few Vikings to help with this.
This must be so frustrating for GuMiho. He's got such a good army, and if it wasn't for the Dark Shrine in this game, he probably could have turned this around and picked up a victory. But this is a big, big problem. Only 2 command centers, limited amount of energy, limited amount of scans, and he has to keep using them defensively with DTs just running through the middle of the map to attack his army. Okay, that War Prism should be able to get out here. And it's 61 workers for PartinG, 39 for GuMiho. Yeah.
Starting to run out of steam in this game. Apollo. A supply difference is finally being made. Even though he shuts down the War Prism, he's going to move towards that third base. PartinG's looking for an engage in the middle of the map.
Yeah, he finds a few Marine Marauders there. He's going to pick them off very easily and turns around. GuMiho's going to go for the fight. PartinG's willing to accept it. 2 force fields, not the best force fields in the world, but the tanks get obliterated. And PartinG continues the onslaught. GuMiho microing the best as he physically can at this point. The Colossus still 2 in numbers, but the Marine Marauders still left out there. Can they win the fight? There's no Vikings in the sky. He's got to try and get close to the Colossus. 2 Marauders stim forward, but it is not going to be enough. And PartinG is going to eliminate this army slowly but surely here, Todd.
And GuMiho is run out of units, he's run out of options. PartinG with the clutch holds. Probably got very afraid though when he moved up his ramp and those tanks started shooting down his army. Man, that was scary even for me.
PartinG feeling the heat of that game despite the victory. That really could have swung the other way instantly. That position that GuMiho found in between those bases, very, very intelligent positioning and excellent use of tanks, excellent use of Vikings, abusing the map to his very best with 1 army, 1 strike, 1 push. But the Dark Shrine, the MVP of that game goes to the Dark Shrine of the Dark Templars. An excellent usage there from
It often
PartinG.
does, Apollo.
It often does. It often does. As a Protoss player, Todd, I know you know that very well.
If you watch my stream, you will know that the regular tech route after Colossus is not a Templar Archive, but a Dark Shrine, Apollo, because these things are pretty good with the DTs.
Now Marine King going in, having a couple of words with GuMiho, of course. Same team, teammates, friends, housemates. Words of advice now, because this next map is absolutely everything on the line. You can say that this is 5 years of work for GuMiho being put into this final as a StarCraft player. Just so very close. That is the ultimate goal of a StarCraft professional, is to be a champion of a tournament. And GuMiho now needs to win the next 2 maps in a row. Otherwise, it is going to be PartinG picking up another StarCraft 2 title and his first StarCraft title at DreamHack at his debut performance here live in France. But a very tense moment now for GuMiho. What do you think's going through his mind? Maybe potential words that Marine King could be saying to him?
I think it's he needs to pick a good build to open with, and the one that he did in the last game, really, we didn't do much. You know, we saw where the units lost tab was at some point. It was like 7 probes lost or something against what, like Medivacs, Hellions, Widowmines, Marines, everything. So going for a gas first against PartinG just doesn't seem to work. He had opened for a Stargate, the defense was perfect. I think that GuMiho needs to go back to maybe something else, you know? A little bit of a quicker command center, regular tech, because gas first just doesn't work against this guy. And believe me, gas first, pretty strong build in general, but PartinG just doesn't seem to agree, I guess, to some extent. Completely shut down the early on aggression, and then from there was always in a good position, bought a lot of time. He did everything that he had to good enough in this game.
I'm sure PartinG was a little bit shaken after game number 1 here that GuMiho delivered a victory to himself and delivered a loss there to PartinG, but PartinG has won the last 2 maps in a row, and he really has stepped up his game coming into these couple of games, these last two that we've watched. He's really knocked it up. His control has been absolutely world-class with his stalkers, and he just always seems to be making the right moves at the right time.
Yeah, it seems so. Like, he knew exactly what he had to do. Like, slowing down the attack was so important. If you don't do that, well, the Terran gets there very fast, and then once he siege there, well, you're in much more trouble than otherwise. So picking off these units, you know, taking down the rocks, closing the pathways for the Terran, bought himself enough time to saturate the third base. He was on 3 bases for so long, man. It's crazy, really. And he only was able to go for the third base because he did so well early on.
All right, here we are loaded into map number 4. Up here in the north position, has to win every single map. The next 2 in a row to be crowned DreamHack champion is the blue Terran player on Team MVP and Invasion Esports. It's GuMiho! And down to the bottom side of Vani Research Station, a single game away at his debut at DreamHack to be the champion as the Red Protoss player, it's PartinG! Crowd behind PartinG as he steps forward, closer and closer towards this victory. Fans behind GuMiho. It's been an ecstatic 2 days here in France. And this is important.
Are we finally going to see a standard game out of GuMiho? I don't think so anymore at this point. I mean, Command Center first year looks like it's going to be his choice on Vani Research Station, where PartinG just going to be opening standard with 1 gas so far. Ooh, he was rallying on the 2nd gas here for a second.
What is PartinG doing?
2nd gas, then a scout? Or yeah.
2nd gas and scout Todd against Command Center first coming out from GuMiho.
Proxy's target is the first thing that comes to my mind here, especially since he's sending that to the right-hand side, maybe possibly guessing that GuMiho might be going for this here. PartinG could be taking a chance here.
Could be taking a championship winning chance here. As the probe continues to the right-hand side, PartinG has a plan. He's got the double gas down. He's going to be planting a pylon up towards this position by the looks of it. There it is. PartinG knows exactly how to finish off GuMiho.
Oh, he thinks he does.
He thinks he does. GuMiho has an SCV coming down the center.
Yeah.
He's going to have a look inside this main base.
He's going to figure out what's up here, and I don't think you can transition out of this unless you go like full Roddy build and, you know, get Tempest here and take the gold base. It's going to be an Oracle and a lot of commitments.
There is the Stargate down. GuMiho, luckily for him, sending this SCV, and at least he's going to start to piece the puzzle together. Moves forward, sees 1 gas, sees 2 gas. Has a lot of chrono boost in that Nexus. And now he knows that something isn't right. Going to pop down to this natural area. And it is confirmed there is no Nexus, GuMiho.
How is he going to defend? He can either throw down an eBay or make enough Marines with bunkers that he's going to use to, you know, defend against the initial Oracle. If you defend well against the first one, then you're going to be in an okay position. But with PartinG, it's very hard to know how many Oracles he's going to go for. So a good way you can do that here for GuMiho is to maybe stand around that Stargate.
Well, there is a Stalker out as well now that can be a bit of a nuisance. An Engineering Bay has started. Likewise, the Oracle. PartinG having a look outside his base. Likewise, he doesn't know what GuMiho has been up to. A bunker has started. And GuMiho taking a have a look at this command center. This Zelnoga Tower. He's going to see a probe with a gold mineral patch in its hand. He knows that the Stargate's up there by now. And he's getting all the tools necessary.
I mean, he already knows pretty much, no matter what. He's confirming. He's nice, but...
He's going to see it, but can he stop it? The Oracle's already on its way. 1 SCV there's a
Not worth it. Goes for the main, there's a bunker and a turret on the way, Apollo.
Yeah, good defense so far from GuMiho, and this is very important. If he loses too much here, this could be over, but this is looking good. Stalker walks right into the main base.
2nd Oracle is on the way. I really wonder where PartinG is going to stop at with this. He's on 22 probes with no additional gateways just yet. If he throws down
a second bunker has started as well on the ramp.
I think GuMiho fully realizes here that PartinG might be committing to this, and there is also pretty much no way for PartinG to really shut down a scout unless he got a mothership core, but doesn't really have the
1 Marine
minerals.
and an SCV taken out from that Oracle.
Still no gateways. I really wonder what PartinG is going to go for. Either gateways or a Nexus is usually, you know, what you need to add on.
At this point,
he's getting probes, so I think it's going to be a Nexus.
The Nexus has been planted. PartinG is given up from this aggression. He's even going to escape with that Stalker, luckily enough. 2 Oracles, though, still a nuisance. But GuMiho scouted early enough. He reacted early enough.
He reacted so well, man.
Well, it's not over yet. 2 Oracles fly in.
As I say that.
3 SCVs get picked off. And he's even going to go towards the Marines now after salvaging that bunker. Great macro there from PartinG.
He needs another turret, just because the first one is too far to the left.
Oracle goes down, but still, there's not many Marines left, if any, at this point. And now this Oracle has 3 rain on this right-hand side. Turret was kind of planted slightly to the left, so this right-hand side is weak. 8 SCVs were killed by PartinG. And 9 Marines, 10 in total, 9 Marines for a single Oracle.
I said, I can't believe he reacted so well. Next second,
and then boom!
8 SCVs and 10 Marines died instantly. And PartinG, I think he's going to want to look to keep that one alive.
Twilight Council has been put down here by PartinG.
It's 28 probes against 19 SCVs, but GuMiho had a second orbital command for a very long time, and he hasn't had to use any scans. Double expand, old school PartinG. Was one of the first guys to use that a lot back on the Daybreak days.
Yeah, and this is going to be denied. There was an SCV, I think, moving towards the middle that just got shut down. And unfortunately, there is no scouting information for GuMiho, who is on the defensive. There's an Oracle around. Of course he's going to be on the defensive.
Yeah.
He's only just started his Stargate, and PartinG has 3 Nexus down. This is huge. He's going to have so much economy, so much production, so many Blink Stalkers, and GuMiho in the dark.
Yeah, there's really no way for him to see this. I don't think he's going to be wasting a scan at this point. He needs more mules to get more minerals. He's on 4 barracks, and he's pumping a lot of bio, so maybe a timing in the works here in a moment.
But surely he's going to wait towards the Medivacs coming out, and by that time is when PartinG is going to be ready.
Yeah, but I don't think that he can wait for that long, because look, the factory only starts now. Surely, like, it would hit way too late against anything. When you come into this many Marines, you need to try and go for some aggression, just at least to make sure that your opponent hasn't rushed the third. And knowing PartinG is definitely one of the things that he can do. GuMiho's fully aware of that, so we'll see.
All right, well, 3 additional gateways have come down here for PartinG, starting to increase that production, to increase that army size, knowing that a push is around the corner from GuMiho. Once he feels satisfied with the units and got those upgrades, stim, combat shields, and so on. But the Oracle continues to be a nuisance. Finds an SCV.
He's always finding room to do some damage.
Finds a second one. And
what a
backs
pilot.
up again. 17 kills that Oracle has.
PartinG is going into a lot of gateways, by the way. Still no robo just yet. I think he realizes what's happening with the amount of barracks. And GuMiho, he actually has a very scary Marine force. Steampack is going to line up pretty well with combat shield and +1.
25 Marines, no Stalkers yet, just a single Stalker. That's not enough to combat this. Blink's about to finish, but so are all these gateways.
Wait, was that more barracks? Oh, or was he flying it somewhere? Okay, no, it's still the 4. I thought I saw I guess he moved them maybe a little bit. At this point, GuMiho, he must be thinking about what's the best thing he can do. Should he just play standard? He's not been playing standard so far. This game, he opened command center first. It was a proxy target, so he's been forced to play a standard style.
We have a Marine, we have a scout from GuMiho moving towards his 3rd command center. And just by seeing these units down here, he should be able to spot this. And this is the only information that he's been able to gather for a very long time in this game. And this is going to be ringing alarm bells as GuMiho moves down and sees a fully completed Nexus, sees very little army. And now he has to be saying to himself, oh, you didn't take that 3rd Nexus. And now the push has to take place, whether the Medivacs already. Because if he waits too long, this economy, this production, this army is going to be way too difficult to stop. He moves forward. Does PartinG have enough of an army? Because currently it is less, it is smaller.
Yeah, I think GuMiho is going to wait for the 2 Medivacs to come out. He's going to use Ignite Afterburners and rejoin his army directly. For some reason, he feels confident enough to go for a lockdown. I don't think he realized that GuMiho is out on the map right now. This could backfire here. Oh, it's not one of the Medivacs. One of the only 2 Medivacs that were made so far.
Well, this is just very awkward for both players at this point. Neither of them know exactly what the hell is going on and where the armies are.
I think there is the mothership core back at home, but if there isn't enough units on the ground, this 3rd Nexus is going to die instantly. Possibly all the probes.
Well, I mean, he's got a bigger problem on hand right now. There's a bunch of Stalkers and Sentries in his main base. A lot of these SMEs have been pulled off, and half of GuMiho's army's on the other side.
PartinG must be wondering, where's the rest of the army? He's going to start pulling very far ahead in supply. GuMiho is dying back at home. He needs to kill PartinG across the map, but it's going to be so hard. Against the photon of a chance that's there. There is a big Autosys pylon, though, in the main.
Oh, man, this is such a big problem here for GuMiho. He's going to take, but he's going to surrender. GG! PartinG wins DreamHack Open 2015 live in tour, 3 games to 1 versus GuMiho.
give it up for your DreamHack Open Tour champion PartinG! PartinG, you won many other tournaments before, but you said you had never won a DreamHack title, that you wanted it badly to hold this star. From the beginning of yesterday, you kept saying over and over that you wanted to win this tournament, you kept your promise, and you're here with this trophy in your hands. What is going through your head right now? 어제부터 계속 우승하고 싶다는 말을 계속 했었고, 그 다음에 드림핵 우승, 다른 대회는 우승했지만 드림핵은 아직 못했었어요. 근데 이제 우승도 했고 우승하겠다는 그 약속도 지켰고 지금 무슨 생각이 드나요?
일단 제가 유럽 대회에서 우승을 많이 못했어요. 그래서 이번에 드림핵 프랑스에서 꼭 우승을 해야겠다는 생각으로 왔는데 정말 하늘이 많이 도와준 것 같고, 그리고 제가 그동안 연습해온 과정이 생각나면서 그리고 지금 어머니가 보고 계실 텐데 어머니가 엄청 많이 기뻐하실 것 같고, 이거 트로피도 이제 제 몇 번째 동생인지 모르겠는데 제가 동생이라 부르거든요. 트로피 이제 모을 때마다. 그래서 정말 사랑스러운 동생인 것 같아요. 드림핵 트로피가.
So PartinG says, I feel like I haven't won many European tournaments before, so I'm so ecstatic that I'm able to win this tournament at DreamHack France. Just being able to win here is so amazing. I know that my mom is watching right now, and I'm really close to my mother, and I do this for her. I know that she'll be so happy watching me this late at night in Korea. And also, it feels so good to earn another little brother. And yes, he calls his trophies his little brother. So he says it feels nice to add another family member to my trophy family. So I'm just so happy right now. And last but not least, PartinG, I need to give you this chance because the French fans have been amazing here in Tour, friends. You need to say something to these guys out there.
팬들한테 한마디? 지금 너무 감동받아서 제가 살면서 프랑스에 이제 올 일이 이제 언제일지 모르겠는데 정말 프랑스 처음 와봤는데 처음 와본 대회에서 우승도 해보고 해서 정말 뜻깊은 것 같고, 진짜 이렇게 멋진 팬분들 때문에 여기서 더 큰 무대에서 더더욱 오래 살아남아서 우승까지 하고 싶었어요. 그래서 팬분들이 이렇게 멀리서 와주신 분들도 계시고 뭐 여기 사시는 분들도 계시겠지만 지금 여기 계시는 팬분들 덕분에 지금 여기 게이머, 한국 게이머나 다른 나라 게이머들이나 힘내서 계속 패션, 열정 가지고 하는 거거든요. 그래서 많이 응원해 주셨으면 좋겠고, I love you, my French fans.
So I know you guys got that last part, but PartinG says, honestly, I am so touched right now. This is my first time in France, first time at a tournament here in France, and just seeing you guys are just so electric. I've loved being able to play in front of you guys, and I don't know when I'll have the chance to come back again, but you guys have left such a strong impression on me, and so I hope that I have this opportunity to play in front of a large crowd like you guys again, and I know that out of all of you here, there's probably a lot of you that traveled so far, so thank you for coming here, all the way here to cheer for all of us and to cheer for me to be the champion here. And it's because of people like you and you fans that I'm able to keep my passion alive. So thank you very, very much, says PartinG. Now, guys, along with PartinG, there is one more player that we need to give a huge shout out to. It was his first time making a grand finals ever. Please give a warm welcome also to GuMiho, who is the runner-up of this tournament. It is time to get our prize ceremony And in order to help us, I want to welcome to the stage Jan from Razer and Mark from Blizzard. Come out, Jan, please. All right, Jan will be presenting the second place check to GuMiho. So GuMiho, you can hold your check. And next up, Mark. Oh, Jan will be also presenting the check for PartinG over here. So PartinG, along with the star, you can hold your check very proudly in front of your fans here in Thor. It's been a crazy 2 days, but I want to say thank you to all of you guys in the audience. You have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so, so much. And that will be it for all the action here in Tour and DreamHack Open Tour. But we will be back, guys. StarCraft will be back at DreamHack Valencia from July 16th to the 19th. But before we fully wrap up the show, let's head back to the studio desk with our panel host, Richard Lewis.
Good stuff. Thanks a lot for that, Smix. Really incredible atmosphere. I think that's my first nerd chill. I think it's happened.
Yeah? You've been around the scene long enough. I'm surprised you haven't had one before, Richard.
No, this is it. This is my first nerd chill. It really is. And I thought it was great as well, listening to PartinG's speech. Hello, PartinG's mum. A big shout out to them. No, I'm telling you, great tournament, worthy winner. I mean, we're going to run out of superlatives for this guy, but let's try. Eh? What a great tournament.
Yeah, a fantastic tournament run. And you know, when you're a tournament favorite, there's a lot of pressure that is on your shoulders because everyone's expecting you to win. And, you know, when you start to lose in the series, you start to think about that. But he delivered a championship-winning performances from day one all the way to the end here in day two.
Todd?
The 3 games that he just won, the 3 maps that he won, an absolute work of art. Like, honestly, if you're a Protoss player, study these games and learn. Because even that last game, like, he was on 2 oracles against a turret, a bunker. And then GuMiho gets a little bit too confident, much like me. He was like, well, this is shut down. I have 10 Marines. I'm fine, right? Yeah. Salvage is the bunker. 10 Marines against 2 oracles. Nope, you need 50 Marines, actually, to hold 2 oracles. And yet, well, he lost a lot of SCVs and Marines. And then from there, no recovery. Just beautiful play by PartinG. One weakness, he finds it every time, goes for it.
Yep. And
yeah, I mean, I'd say like PartinG, he resembles like MC 2.0, like an upgraded version of him. You know he's going to be aggressive. You know he's going to go all in a lot, but he just has such good such good force fields. Like, you can know that, and you can't stop it. And he's going to keep going around the world, collecting money at these foreign tournaments, and I don't think people can stop him. But let's, like, you know, I got to give a shout out to GuMiho, though, because, like,
absolutely.
You don't want, you know, you can't really talk about moral victories that much in StarCraft, but still, like, this is as close to a moral victory as you'll get. Like, GuMiho came in, and, you know, just by playing his style, he lived and he died by his style. Yeah. And, you know, he won over a lot of people just by playing a shitload of entertaining games.
You know what's funny? Yeah. The Team Liquid article about the greatest ever, I think PartinG didn't make the top 15 and didn't seem very happy about this. And it almost feels like if he was so upset about it that here he wanted to prove something. Yeah. And he won that tournament. He's like, what's up now? Am I not top 15 greatest ever? Again.
But just staying on GuMiho, I mean, definitely not the end of the road for him. He completely went under our radar right at the top of the show when we were talking about contenders, and he just built this momentum going forward. It must be a good feeling for him, obviously, maybe not right now, losing a final, but a great tournament performance from him, seriously, overall.
Yeah, a fantastic performance, and he's going to be very proud about his performances when he comes off this loss now and starts to, you know, soak in and look at it and go, well, actually, I did do very well. There was a lot of people watching me play. People were screaming my name in the audience. I made a lot of fans for this, and he's going to be remembered because of this tournament too. If you look at GuMiho over the years, he's had a couple of things that you remember him by. A semi-final in GSL years and years ago, and his all-kill in the Team League final, in the GSTL final, all those years ago. And recently, nothing to go by his name, but he'll be remembered for being the finalist against PartinG here in 2015.
And even stylistically, actually. Like, he came into this tournament, like, not too many people knew exactly how he plays, except maybe Wax, who watches StarCraft 24/7 on 17 monitors. So after this tournament, surely everybody's going to remember how crazy this guy played in his style.
Well, speaking of memories, what I'm going to do is one last time, we'll take a look at the bracket, the tail of the tournament. And what I want you guys to do is just give me your high points of these amazing 2 days of StarCraft here in Tour.
Wax, go ahead.
Man, I guess this is just like, you know, PartinG confirming he himself, he believes he's the best player in the world. And he stumbled in Korea a bit, but coming here, he's like on his path to proving to everyone that he is the best.
And he, looking at that, and I agree with you completely, and I love that PartinG's won this tournament, and I love that he's gained more WCS points as well, because at the end of the day, he wants to be the best player in the world, he wants to be recognized as the best player in the world, and he is almost guaranteed to be playing at the end of the year in the global finals, where he can actually challenge to be that #1, because you look at Life, who won it at BlizzCon last year, everyone's like, he's the best player in the world, and that is something that PartinG is well on the road to doing at the end.
And your memory, Todd, any lasting moments for you?
I think just looking at the bracket, that round of 32 and seeing a lot of nationalities, 4 French players in there, definitely proud of them. We're lucky, to live in these times where StarCraft is such an amazing game, and all this. As corny as it is, I'm sorry, just looking at the round of 32 brackets, I feel like we're all very lucky to have witnessed, I guess, history in the making here in esports with PartinG winning yet another tournament. So just the tournament as a whole for me has been a huge highlight, and it's been very enjoyable.
And for me, it's fairly obvious, obviously, Harston, coming of age, getting into the final eight. Mate, I'm telling you, honestly, I'll tear up if I talk about it. It means that much to me. I love that boy. So yeah, it's been amazing. Look, I want to thank you. We need to wrap up. So I want to thank all of the casters. That's obviously Todd, Apollo, Nathaniel. So come on stage, come on. Get up here, you're part of the crew, get up here. And obviously, Wax Angel, here he is. Yes, my boy. And obviously, Wax Angel as well. It was great working with you. It was your first tournament, you did excellent. I want to give a shout out to Smix as well. Brilliant interviews. She's done an amazing job.
I feel like we used to sing like, "We Are the Champions" now.
we won the tournament, guys. It's our moment. But obviously, as well, I want to thank all of the sponsors who made it possible. That's ISO, Monster Energy, Razer, and Intel. I want to thank all of you for staying up with us and watching. And if you want, you can watch Counter-Strike tomorrow. I will be on that desk. It's going to be there at 1:45 in the afternoon. But the final thank you absolutely has to be to the people who came here and stayed and watched this awesome tournament. Big shout out to all of you guys still there. And thanks to everyone here at Tour. We're out. This was DreamHack. Peace.
Peace.